Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. For you today. Everton 0, Chelsea 1. The Premier League opener. The Blues lost it, joined by Steve Kelly. New fans forum, remember?
Fans forum Steve Kelly?
Fans forum Steve Kelly.
That's
FF Steve
official
Kelly.
title, isn't
Steve
it?
Kelly FF. Disappointing result. At the end of the day, but not too bad a performance.
Yeah.
Not that I like to say that, because
no, it's never nice to start the season with a defeat, is it?
First time since 2011. QPR.
First time they beat us since 2017.
It's never nice to start the season with a defeat. I think with all the problems in terms of striking options we've got, I suppose the game went pretty much the way I thought it was going to go. There wasn't too much different from the performance in April. There was just the difference is one player really for me. We didn't have that kind of player available, and Chelsea got a goal obviously through a penalty. And yeah, what can you do? Everton hopefully in the next couple of weeks can sort out that issue. If they don't, then we'll have real problems. Yeah. So Everton have got a couple of weeks now to sort out that issue. And they know what it is, and that's not a terrible thing.
Yeah.
And normally you go, oh, well, Chelsea, but we normally do all right in Chelsea, like you said. So was disappointing, but I think the overall performance, there was a lot of positive things to take from it.
Steve, I mean, the manager went with Damari Gray, Anthony Gordon and Dwight McNeil as the front three. Were you surprised that he never went with Dele? Because he spoke about Dele in his press conference, that he can play up there, he's been a second striker. Was that a bit of a surprise for you?
Yeah, I was expecting Dele to start. It proved to be the front three, it just didn't really work throughout the whole game really. And I think it kind of limited you to getting the ball in the box as well from crossing, because like Anthony Gordon, as we've seen with one of the chances as well, obviously not great in the air either, but I was a bit surprised, especially with him getting the 2 goals at Blackpool, and obviously come on against Kiev as a striker as well, so it just seemed a natural replacement really for Calvert-Lewin. So but I got the impression that it was going to be a counter-attacking game that Frank wanted to play, and that's why he's maybe played the front three as it was. So but yeah, I was a bit surprised, a bit disappointed that he didn't play as well, because I think he offers you something different as well than the others. But the manager obviously seen it differently to all us. So
yeah, I mean, I think playing the way he did with the 3 at the back, that wasn't a surprise to anybody. And the right 3 as well. I think Mina, Tarkovsky and Godfrey.
Last time we're ever going to see that.
Yes, and then we obviously had Patterson making his Premier League debut as well. Yeah, and we had Michalenko on the other side, and the midfield too. That I know you were a little bit concerned about.
I was as well.
When we spoke about it earlier last week, but in terms of just the midfield too, for a start, they done quite well, didn't they?
Yeah,
really?
I think they did fine. I thought they weren't really an issue, although I think the Corey's passing still leaves a little bit to be desired, but. I thought as a 2, I thought they coped really well. So no issues there, and that's funny because obviously we're so heavily linked with new midfielders. That's an interesting part of it, isn't it? But obviously it does need an upgrade. It does need actually someone in there who can maybe be a little bit more of a force rather than chasing around chasing around after the opposition. We do need someone in there who's going to start making the opposition chase him around a little bit. But obviously, you mentioned there the 3. We obviously got the devastating blow early on, Ben Godfrey, and you act. For me, I was just thinking about it. You do wonder how much of a tactical difference that made with not having the pace of Godfrey there to play, maybe be a little bit more bold and play slightly higher line and maybe squeeze them up a little bit. Because obviously you've always got to be worried of Sterling, and that's why you're gonna drop off. You just wonder whether if Godfrey would have not got injured, whether we could have played a slightly higher line and maybe then just squeezed them and not being so obviously preoccupied with them having so much of the ball. So we'll never know, because obviously 11 minutes in we got obviously the first major blow of the season with Ben Godfrey getting injured.
Yeah, and I mean, Ped's right there, isn't it? It did change the way we wanted to play. I thought we'd started the game quite brightly, pushed them back a little bit. The crowd were fantastic again. We knew they would be. It was noisy. And then error from ourselves, really. It was a shocking pass by Godfrey back to Pickford, who should have really just let it go out for a corner and regroup. Didn't. The ball did go. I think Ped had to throw it back to Pickford to carry the game on. It was that far out. And Godfrey has to make a tackle in the end.
It was so far out, Bournemouth thought he could score from it.
Yeah. Remember that when he played the 1-2 off the boards and scored and the ref gave it? He has to make a tackle, obviously, and ends up with a broken leg. It's just fibula, isn't it, apparently? So, devastating blow, really, because he's the pace in our defence, isn't he?
He is, definitely. And fair play to Mason Holgate when he come on. Thought he had a very good game, actually. Because usually I think one of the biggest criticisms, I'm sure we've all labelled it, is that he doesn't always seem switched on. No, but he come on and he was on it straight away, which was good. So I actually think he is decent in a 3 at the back. He's probably like that with a 2. He's a bit more open, but I think with the Godfrey injury, it was a terrible injury. You could see straight away the minute it happened, it was something bad as well.
Yeah,
he's a pretty tough lad, and he was even like screaming over to the bench as well. So, but again, it could have all been avoided if the linesman had just done his job, and also, obviously, Godfrey's poor back pass. But I thought after that, actually, we actually got a grip of the game again straight away. To be honest, I thought Patterson was bombing on. First 15 minutes as well. I was impressed with him, I thought there was times in the game, I thought first 15 minutes he was bombing on, he was getting involved, he was flying into the tackles, which was really good to see. Then obviously he kind of had a bit of a lull for about 40 odd minutes, and when we decided to go the other side,
on the left,
we were going to the left a lot in the first half, but then for the second half again he had like a 20-minute spell of being really good again as well. So it was good to see him play for the first time as well. So a lot to be, like I said, I come away from the game on Saturday feeling a lot more positive than negative towards the team, and especially with potential new signings coming in as well. I just thought we looked a lot more organised compared. Obviously, I know couldn't have got any worse than last season, to be fair, but Tarkowski made a difference. I thought he marshalled the back 3. Yeah. He was brilliant. You could always see him talking with Mikalenko a lot because he was on Mikalenko's side. So it was good, that was good to see. So, like I said, overall, even though we got beaten, we don't like losing. I feel like there was a bit of you could see what we were trying to do.
I thought it was a 0-0 game, to be fair. Didn't think either team done enough to win it.
No, I thought Chelsea were pretty poor, to be honest with you, at times as well.
I think both teams just cancelled each other
toothless,
out.
Weren't we? Yeah. Toothless.
We had probably the better chances. Or certainly the goalkeeper, and let's talk about that one, the save that Bernard Mendy made from James Tarkowski. It was a corner whipped in, and he flapped at the first one, really. He probably should have claimed it, and Mikalenko did well and just stood it up, and it was a great header by Tarkowski.
Yeah, I think
on either side it was a goal.
I think and I think that was as I was talking about before about Ben Godfrey getting injured, is because we didn't force enough opportunities to get set pieces into the box. I think we had one early on, and it was the first set piece Damari Gray took since the one he took against Crystal Palace, and it was absolutely terrible. And it was like, thank God you didn't do that night. We didn't make enough opportunities, we didn't get enough corners, so we didn't get that opportunity to recycle the ball, and people like Tarkowski be still in the box for those crosses, these chances we had to cross. They were good balls in the box, and that one was, he's got his head on. The keeper's made one of those saves which you'd expect him to make. Yeah. But that show, because I don't know what other people think. When you come out of those games, you have a little think about it. You do think, you know what, Chelsea were there for the taking. They were there for the taking, and on another day with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, we probably would have scored.
We'd had the Anthony Gordon one that he looked like he closed his eyes at the cross from Damari Gray curled in. I was like behind it and thought he'll score, because he rose and he was on his own. The defender was too far away. It was Koulibaly was too far away from him. And we had the Abdoulaye Doucouré one with his header where he just didn't connect and the keeper caught it. And another one where, was it Tarkowski headed it wide, or someone headed it wide as well. And you are looking at this game thinking, these are a solid, they're a strong team. and this looks the way we've got our team, this looks the best way we're going to score.
Yeah.
So when you don't take them chances, you do think back and think, we had the opportunity there to...
We did and we didn't, because ultimately we were let down by the obvious. Not having a striker,
yeah.
not having anyone remotely look like a striker. You know, Anthony Gordon hasn't got the experience yet to understand how to play that role. Damari Gray was, I thought he was awful. I'll be honest, I thought he was awful. I'm not going to make any excuses for him. I thought he was really poor, and Dwight McNeil was obviously wasn't sort of as far forward as them, and couldn't quite shift it onto his left foot enough.
Didn't really get in the game enough, did he?
No, he kept on looking to get on the inside, and it was just there was far too many bodies.
The pace.
No,
he's got a lovely left foot, and he's great. He's good in possession. And I think once he gets used to the way we're playing, if we can get Patterson on the outside, that will be the...
Yeah, and
but they knew that from the off, didn't they? And they worked on that. So
yeah, and it was very congested in there, and if you haven't got that outball, we had the outball once maybe for Damari Gray in the second half, which really should have done so much better with that opportunity.
What about the one in the first half when he races through with Gordon, and he's got a big gap to find Anthony Gordon, and he hits the defender with it, and it's then moments where very poor selection of passes at times, both of them. But you'd expect more from a more experienced player, and that just shows you where we're lacking. And when people say, "Oh, you don't need this and you don't need that," it's like we do. We need a lot of everything. You always need goals. You always need
we haven't got goals in this side, and that's gonna be, you know, on day one you sit there and go, yeah, but that's the worry. That's something that has to be sorted out in the next few weeks. There aren't goals, and of course we're playing a good Chelsea team, and the back three is strong. But Thiago Silva played with his slippers on. He really did, and he's 47. He's sitting there with his slippers on, and that's something we're going to have to. It's great to, we're going to get this play and they're going to get that play. It's like we need to get some attack-minded plays, and someone who can score from nothing, by the way, as well. Someone who can drop the shoulder and just smash one in. We need something a little bit different, because otherwise it's going to be a struggling every game. You're going to be nicking, and obviously the defensive side of it does look a lot more promising.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be. And I know it's a process, but it's going to be again a long season if you are just trying to grind out those 1-0 wins and hope that you keep a clean sheet. Whereas in this game, it showed it only takes that 1 second of the player get on the other side of your defence, and then you're on the back foot. The strange thing about the penalty was when he got the ball, I wasn't actually feeling that worried. I thought Pickford would have sorted it, but
Mina come flying across as well. So,
but yeah, we've got to get those attacking players in, and Gordon or Gray, certainly Gray, he'd be on the bench for me. He'd be an impact player for me, not someone who starts games. Just don't think they've got the intelligence.
I think that was the general feeling coming away from the ground on Saturday. A lot of people I was speaking to is that if we have a striker on the pitch, we probably get something from the game, and that's that. Again, we saw it last season when we didn't have Don. When Rondon come in, the goals just weren't there. And then you've took Richarlison out the side. He's obviously gone to Tottenham. You're taking goals out the side, and we haven't really replaced them with goals yet, have we? Either. So again, that's something that the club really need to get a move on with that as well, especially with so many games coming up. We've got 6 in August, haven't we? Games, I think, or something.
5 left.
5, yeah.
4 league and the cup game.
I think Ned said 21 points. That's up for grabs. Something like that, so.
It's not. There's 15.
That's what Ned was saying.
You don't listen to Ned. No. Never listen to Ned. I think what I think's really interesting is you're talking there about obviously we've got to try and sort it, and we have. Of course we have. For you, would it dictate the type of play we buy then? Because we're all sat here saying not enough goals in the team, which we know. I mean, we knew that last season. We didn't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin for most of the season, a fit Dominic Calvert-Lewin anyway. Richarlison was in, then out, then back in, and then injury again, out again, and then back in. But if we would that dictate, say Everton can only, and me personally, I would bring 2 in.
Yeah. 2
forwards, still would. It would squeeze every drop I could out of the club if I was Frank Lampard, Kevin Fowler, to bring 2 in.
Yeah.
But if it's only going to be 1, would that dictate the type of play you brought in now, so that when Dominic Calvert-Lewin is fit and available, you can get them both in the team? Or are you thinking, we'll go with someone who's very much a back to goal type striker who gets goals, and him and Dom would fight it out for the one place.
I'd probably like to see more like of a pressing forward if we're gonna bring one in, like, because I think that's one thing I've noticed.
But have goals though, haven't they?
Have goals as well. I think obviously that's why I imagine they're looking at Brozier, because he's athletic, he's quick, but he's tall, but he can also do a bit of both, back to goal if he's needed to as well. So I imagine that's why they're looking at him. But then you've got other players who we're potentially looking at, like I've seen mentioned, like Moussa Dembele. He's very different. He's more your front foot forward. So it really depends. Well, I look at Lampard since he's come in, and he's very much on the front foot type of manager. He wants the wingers to press, and I imagine he wants the same with his forward as well. So I just think we're desperate for a striker as well, because we can't be relying on Rondon.
You need players who've got good movements as well, don't you? You need people who are going to pull the back three or the back four of the opposition out and allow Gordon and that Damari Gray or whoever to then start finding the spaces in the back. And what we saw on Saturday was a classic case of a team not having a player who understands where to make runs. I mean, I was watching Danny Welbeck for Brighton, and the runs he makes. And you know what I mean? It's like there's a player.
United all over.
There's a player who understands how to make a run to open spaces up to allow midfielders to flood in then. And it's like we just don't have that at the moment. I'm not even sure if we have that when Dom plays, if I'm honest.
It's very different.
You know, he's a different kind of striker.
Dom used to be a bit like that.
But we definitely need someone like that who can make those runs and start allowing it. You know, it's something that's not appreciated enough. And that starts opening your team up, and then you have that double threat. You have a player who's maybe decent in the air, but also makes the runs. So it's definitely someone like that we need to bring in, and that would be someone who's slightly different to Dom. Then that would be a different option.
And Brozier is, to be fair.
Yeah, that would be someone that could maybe play with Dom as well. And you've got that target man where you know you can throw the ball into the box. Because the simple fact is, on Saturday, there was opportunity to throw the ball in the box, and a lot of the times we stopped and came back and started again.
We did.
But you think if you've got Dom in there, who will just take the focus of those players, and then you've got a couple more joining in, then suddenly the ball drops. Whereas that just wasn't an outlet for us on Saturday. So we've got to be looking for someone who's going to start pulling defenders and allowing those Gordons of the world to get in those gaps.
I think that's what I was saying there about Patterson before. I think even though he probably didn't show his true qualities because he couldn't do what he wanted to, getting the ball in the box. You know, again, that was a huge positive. We've still seen a lot of quality from him as well, even though he wasn't able to get the ball in the box because there was no one there.
And the problem with Saturday was the minute our players stopped and came back. The Chelsea players
regrouped, haven't
they swarmed all over them, and then they're playing out. You know, they're a very modern team. They're a team that presses. And you know, there's a lot of teams out there now. You've got to play on that front foot and be able to hit players early. You know, and you mentioned before that one with Damari Gray and Gordon. You've got a centre forward who's making a move there and opening up. Then suddenly you've got a couple of options, but you're creating space for other players, and I just don't think when you haven't got a proper centre forward, I just don't think you've got, and if you haven't got that couple of, I think that's where Dele can make that happen. That's what he can do. And I'm not saying he's the answer by any means, but if looking at that performance, I'd have Dele in before those two.
No, definitely. I mean, in the first half, it was nip and tuck. They had more of possession because they will do, and he knocked it around quite nicely because they will do, but they didn't really create anything. And Pickford he made a save from he made a mess of a save from Kanté, which was a back pass which he spilled and Sterling scored, but he was rightly offside. And the only other thing they had was a Koulibaly header which he just comfortably caught. And obviously because of the injury time for Ben Godfrey, we'd looked like we'd got through that, and the referee was checking his watch, and then he gives Chelsea a free kick. Sterling dives before Tarkowski gets near him, and from that they work the ball wide, and Chilwell makes a run on the inside. The Corey clumsily gives him the opportunity to go down. He touched him, there was contact definitely, but he gives him that opportunity where Mina has come sliding across. Just stay with him and make it difficult, and It was a penalty.
We just switched off, didn't we? We just
Just for
switched off,
that one thing, and obviously Jorginho, I think he's only missed one against Liverpool. I think it's the only pen he's missed in the league.
Yeah.
I seen a stat the other day. He scored 14 on the run or something. It was always a big asset for Pickford to keep it out. Sent him the wrong way, and we go in one down.
I know, it was shame as well, because I think, like you were saying before, it felt like it was on its way to going as a 0-0 game as well. It was both teams were a bit toothless in the final third.
Yeah. They need a striker.
They need a striker as well as we do as well. So yeah, it was just that one moment, and then obviously Chilwell's got to cross him, hasn't he? And the Corey's tugged his shit.
He didn't need much to go down.
He didn't, to be fair.
There was contact.
But like you said, it's a shame because Mina was coming across, and I think like Pad was saying before, I wouldn't have really fancied Chilwell to score either, to be honest.
Well, if he smashes in the roof of Corey has it gets blocked.
I did think that was the one moment.
Yeah, it was the moments, and obviously Dele come on, and we did look better with Dele as the striker, even though I don't think he done much.
No, kept coming deep.
He was coming a bit too deep, but at least he was coming and getting it and playing it wide, and we were running in behind him. We had the opportunity where Patterson did brilliantly. Gets into the penalty area with. I was wondering if he should have shot.
Yeah,
but he squares it, and Dele needs to just hit that first time.
He does.
Because he isn't scoring, he's trying to get it out of his feet to be able to, instead of just sweeping it. When he was in his pomp playing for Spurs, he'd have just swept that first time into the net, and that for me was the big moment. It was.
I know, just as soon after I noticed the Corey went up to pass and said, go for it next time, because he had the momentum, I thought, just to go and
I think, does he win the header?
He wins
the time, just goes, doesn't he? Yeah. And they opened up because he had the pace, and that's what I would say about him. If I was speaking to him as Frank Lampard, you'd be saying to him, every time you get it, get in the box, mate, just run. You've got the pace, you put a good ball into the box, get yourself in there and be a real threat, and I think he'll grow, confidence will come. Yeah. He'll start feeling his place in the team, and then maybe he will shoot then. Yeah. Maybe he'll have to go. But I think for Dele, start doing things instinctively. Ball comes, sweep it in. Yeah. If he saves it, the thing about it is, if he actually would have dummied it, I think Anthony Gordon was stood on his own behind him. If it would have got that far.
He had two defenders around him.
He had two men on him, so he either had to hit it first time. There was no room to take a touch, because once you take a touch, they were on him. Yeah. And that kind of went, and it was with that.
It was all in isolation, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
everything was in isolation.
There was no head of steam because we didn't have. We just didn't build it. They defended well.
Yeah, every opportunity was just never quite clear cut enough for us to gain that little moment.
It's only really the grey one,
and we never forced any issues either. We never forced them into mistakes. So it was, it's just one of those days. But Patterson, I like that how he definitely, you can see it in him. He's got that little bit of needle, little bit of determination. If there's a loose ball, he's going to go for it. Yeah. Which some of the players mightn't.
Good in the air.
There was a couple of moments defensive wise where the players got past them a little bit too easy for my liking, especially in the box. But obviously that'll come. The defensive side will come. And as an attacker, this wasn't the game for him, because he had to concentrate so much on the runners going past them, and that, keeping that shape and getting back into a 5.
Won't do him any harm.
No, but that's the other side of the game.
Making your debut against a team who play like that, and they play with the 3 at the back. So Chilwell was flying on, and we've got runners going.
That's Sterling, didn't he?
Sterling and Mason Mount and Pulisic come on. And Bros, it won't be the worst thing in the world for him.
I was impressed with him. I was really, really impressed with him. I think you just got to build on that performance, and hopefully, like you just said there, we can see him flying down the wing more and getting those balls in the box for when we have a striker or when Dom gets back. But yeah, it was good to see him. It was good to see a full-back higher up the pitch as well. Not against Seamus, but he hasn't been able to do that, has he, over the last couple of years? So,
well, we're talking about Patterson here. Let's have a look at his stats on Saturday. Let's see how he did statistically wise. 3 clearances, 4 tackles, which is a lot. Duels won 7 out of 12, so more than half of his duels. 90% passing accuracy and successful dribbles. I think
out of
that
two.
might be 1 out of 2.
Yeah.
50%. So they're solid numbers. 90%, especially from playing as a right wing back, is quite good. So I was really pleased with him. I thought he did well. We had we had the Mina injury, which upset us a little bit more, and we saw Michalenko go to centre back and Ruben Vinagre come on for his Premier League debut for Everton. We had that, and they didn't really do that much, but then they decided to rub a little bit of salt in the wounds, didn't they, and brought on Brozier, or Broyer, or however you say his name. Scousers will call him Brozier.
Yeah, Brozier.
Brozier come on, and he's a big lad, and he really, you could see why Everton are looking and thinking, can we get him, because he's big and strong, he's good in the air, he's quick. He is the type of striker you could have up there who will change the way you play a little bit, because he is mobile. He'll drop in and then go with the ball. And he almost had a goal, didn't he? Had a header which Pickford caught, and then they had a great chance which Michalenko made. A fantastic and Sterling, wasn't it? Brilliant block at the park end. But like I said, they didn't really carve us open. We didn't carve them open. No. And that's why, for me, it did feel like a 0-0 really. They got the penalty and won the game, obviously. But coming away from it, I know the disappointment is there, but say we've seen a debut for James Tarkowski. So let's have a look at Tarkowski's numbers before we speak about him, because he had a great game as well. 3 clearances, 3 block shots, 2 interceptions, long balls completed 50%, and then 4 out of 8, and 1 key pass. But he was more than that as well, wasn't he? Organisation.
Yeah, he's a leader. And he's an alpha, saying it for ages. Straight away, we looked a million times better on set pieces. We looked organised. He's talking to people. He's making sure there's communication. He's making sure that all the other things
better on the ball than you thought before he comes to Everton.
To be honest, never really thought about it. He was playing for Burnley. I mean, when's he ever going to have the ball? Ultimately, he's a good player. He's a good player, and I think straight into the team, no messing. Just looked like he'd been there for ages.
Yeah, he's very comfortable, wasn't he?
So yeah, great debut. No issues at all. No issues. The only issues I had with the game is the bleeding subs. Gee, how are you supposed to keep track of that? It's absolutely mental.
Have they got did they bring theirs on 3 separate occasions?
Yeah, you're only allowed to bring them on in certain times of the game, or something.
Oh, it's nonsense.
It's 3 times, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can make 5 subs, but it's only 3 times.
So what happens with us? So we have 2 injuries, right? 2 injuries, 2 subs. Do we have to bring the remaining subs on in one instance? That's pathetic.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Yeah,
if it's a forced injury, like Ben Godfrey, that to me should be treated like a concussion. With the goalie. The way the goalie sub is, that should be treated exactly. The lad that broke his leg, he wasn't just going, I'm a bit tired. He went off on a stretcher.
No.
And it wasn't a tactical sub. So
it was a joke. Yeah, it was a joke. The subs, honestly, it was like there was one in the second half of Chelsea near the end. I was like,
they brought thingy on in.
And they stopped making.
Conor Gallagher.
I was just like.
But the thing about it was, and I know we won't know, but obviously in the first half there was 8 minutes. In the second half, there was 10, and I know, literally, never seen a copper pitch invade before in my life. That was...
That was nuts. At first, he was running, and I went, who's on the pitch? I was looking out for someone running.
That's how bad it is at Everton.
Then what I thought, someone blagged this.
That's what I thought, exactly the same.
That was dead weird, that incident, right? Because for ages, I could see people like waving, but the Chelsea fans were like doing this as well. Yeah. But it was like the Chelsea fans were like doing their thing, and our fans were doing their. And I was thinking,
was it in the Everton section?
And I'm thinking, is there something going on over there? And in the end, the copper has to run on the pitch to get the game stopped. I was like, what is going on? It's 2022, and a fella who clearly wasn't built for running is having to run on a football pitch to get
fast half physios.
But I was like,
they'd be up front, mate. They'd be up front for me.
Why aren't they why is people not got walkie-talkies to the fourth official?
So what is the person okay?
I think so. I think
someone said the normal, they've had like the heart attack or
I don't
something.
know
Someone
if
else
it
said the
was.
woman fainted.
Fainted, I think it was
One
there.
fainted.
Because it was...
So hopefully
yeah.
they're fine.
So-
Hopefully the person's
So
fine.
we've
But
got,
anyway,
so
yeah.
we've got no idea.
He didn't play 10 minutes either, by the way.
We've got no idea
No,
how,
he
how
didn't.
much time would have been
Eight.
played on
Played 8.
it with just
Yeah.
the
Or 9.
subs. But is that going to be like? Is that what we're going to get now? If everyone makes
extra
if everyone
thing.
makes 5 subs, are we going to get like 7 or 8 minutes?
Well, I think
now?
United was 6 minutes yesterday.
You're going to get
In the
big.
United
yeah,
game,
United was. You're going to
6
get
minutes.
at least every game. I imagine will be 5 minutes now. Every single.
Theirs
game.
was 6 minutes and there was
And
no
that's
big injuries in
And
that
that's
one
such
as
a
well.
psychological thing as well, isn't it? If you're holding on in a game.
Oh yeah, you know that if you've got to, like for them, even though they dealt with it really well, being away from home, winning 1-0, and the fella puts 10 minutes up. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
here
I
we
was,
go again, isn't it? But
I was at the moment, obviously, I'm not a fan of it, but we'll see how it goes.
there is a
But
bit.
It just
I've
I just didn't like the. It just felt so like, I don't know. A lot of their subs just didn't feel needed.
yeah.
So it was just like, oh, you have a game.
especially when he
You
put
have a game.
Reece James
You
at
have a
left
game.
back for 2 minutes, and then
And he
obviously
couldn't
goes-
decide, I don't think, at one point.
I think he put him at left back, and well, he was taking him off, and then he changed the mind.
Changed the mind, yeah.
And then he put him at left back, and then obviously I think Patterson ran past him on the first attack, and he kind of
Yeah,
just
he was
went,
like, yeah, see you later.
nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And then immediately got Cucurella ready, so it was a bit of a mad one. But coming away, you did say right at the start, Steve, coming away,
Yeah.
you don't feel as down as when like you lose a game normally. Because I felt like that, I'll be honest. One thing I will say, I weren't a big fan of Frank hugging Chelsea players after it. I'm sorry, they were in a tunnel. I weren't feeling that whatsoever. Like, but coming away from the game, I did just feel like, well, you know what, we've done all right there. We know, we can all see.
Yeah.
No one can come away and go, oh, we don't need a forward. We were fine up front. Everyone can see that we're a striker short,
Definitely.
at least one short. So that focuses your mind with. And listen, they knew anyway. They're holding out for
Yeah.
Brozier. Now whether that happens, I don't know. And Everton will have to make that decision. Now I imagine is there a chance of us getting them, or are you keeping them? Because we just said before, Chelsea are light. They just let Werner go out now permanently. It looks like. So they are light unless they bring 2.
I just can't see them allowing him to leave until towards the end.
And
of
that's
the
what I mean. If they're going to let him go, it'll be probably deadline day.
Yeah.
And now can Everton gamble
Wait.
that much?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know whether we can. Maybe we can. I don't know.
That'll be
but
5 games.
It's worrying.
won't it?
But
That's
it's 5 games
games
without a
nearly by the
centre
end of the
forward.
window.
And then a derby, he's gonna.
Rondon's back. 5 games.
As I
without a
said,
striker.
5 games without a striker who can play, in my opinion, 90 minutes. Rondon's 15 minutes, isn't he, a sub? But overall, and especially with, obviously, the links, well, Onana should sign for Everton. It looks like Garnett, heavily linked, and obviously Connor Cody. With those 3 coming in, the squad overall is better, isn't it, and the team? But it's still a glaring hole at the top end of the pitch, isn't it?
Yeah, like I said, I think there's some good, promising performances. Like Alex Iwobi was excellent. Decoria I thought was good next to him as well. The back 3 never really looked like it was in trouble. See, the goalkeeper had a few little moments. But I think everyone walked away from the ground thinking we just need a striker. Just like I think last season, you looked at the squad and you were like, there's worries everywhere here. At the back we looked terrible. Full backs not great. And then you look at the midfield, but we come away thinking we've been worrying about the midfield all pre-season, and it's probably our strongest. It was probably one of the strongest performances. It was good, like Iwobi dropping into a 6, which was mad. It's like, but no, I think there's a lot of positives. I think you could see the style of play they were trying to do. They were mixing it up, playing it short from the back, then going long. It was good to see Tarkovsky with the long range passing over to Patterson as well, which I think we could definitely
Didn't do enough of.
away from home. You could probably
could see
exploit
that,
that. Definitely a lot more getting out, like if you're under pressure, getting it up the pitch, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm a bit more hopeful than I was 4 weeks ago, to be honest with you. So. But I think it's going to take. I think again with some of the players you've got, like obviously mentioned about Onana and Patterson, the young players. They are going to need a bit of time. At times, we are going to need a bit of patience. We all know this season might be one of those years which, like, we're not going to have maybe the best place finish, but we might see a bit of improvement player-wise, and bringing the average age of the squad down as well, and getting some of the higher earners off the like your Gomez's and maybe your Allens who leave the club. So I think you've just got to try and be as positive as possible. I've not seen anything over the weekend which would worry me apart from
the games.
Over games I've seen, obviously apart from Man City, probably Man City and Liverpool, I imagine will be the top two again. But you've seen with Fulham against Liverpool teams, if you get at teams early on in the season, you can pick up a few points.
Yeah. There you go. That's what it is, isn't it? We'd all agree we need a striker.
Yeah, striker.
That's the biggest thing from this. Yes, midfield. If we complete these 2 deals, we'll be stronger. Connor Cody coming in, we need it now because obviously we lost 2 defenders. He'll be an organiser, the same as Tarkovsky. I think we'll be okay.
I think the thing against Villa is, I think Frank's biggest one will be, does he start a recognised striker or does he play Dele?
I'll play Dele.
I think that's.
And then Rondon for the last 20.
That's
if you want to keep
that'll be the big. I think that'll be the big one because there's been times where he has trusted Rondon a few times at the end of last season, bringing him on in certain games ahead.
I think 15, 20 minutes he's probably all right. But I think for me, I'd start with Dele because we're gonna have someone who's a little bit cleverer up front and who's just got Premier League experience. Gray couldn't play there. And Gordon the lad's learning his trade as a wide player. You can't then go and play off with your back to goal against the experienced centre backs. It's a different kind of game. He's not making, Ped said before, he's not peeling off and spinning and going and play it through. He wants to come and pick it up and turn and run.
Yeah.
Whereas Dele, a couple of times at the weekend, it was he was just laying it off first time.
I think it's important if we play Dele, the two have got to get ahead of them.
Oh, they've got to go past.
Got to get ahead of them. That's what wasn't. That probably didn't happen enough on Saturday for me.
I think physically, Dele will give a centre back a harder time than what Gordon or Gray will.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think Rondon's fit enough to play a game anyway, to start a game.
Yeah.
I don't think you could put him in and go, we'll get 70 minutes out of him. I think he's a better sub when he can come on and back in and use his body a little bit. So it'll be interesting anyway. Let's have a look at the stats from the game before we finish. There we go. 8 shots to 15. 4 on target for Everton, 6 for Chelsea. No big chances. 2 for Chelsea. 37%, just one shy of the sweet spot. The 38% sweet spot. 335 passes completed to 566. So
second half, we actually had, I think, a lot more possession as well. We had 45 in the second half.
Really, we pulled it back a little.
Why we never scored? Too much possession.
Yeah, too much possession.
Yeah.
We don't like that. There you go. That is the final word. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Were you encouraged by the performance? Obviously, we know Everton needs a centre forward, and hopefully we get that sorted ASAP because there is a lot of points to play for right now. Hopefully the recruitment team can sort that out. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. We're carrying on now on Premier. If you want to become a Premier member, the link is in the description, so join there. We'll see you later.